Listen to Sergio Sanchez every morning on News Talk 710 KURV and on the Radio Parami app. Stay informed with exclusive interviews from top local and state leaders, plus economic development news, business, and medical reports, and all the local news from the RGV. It's everything you need to know to start your day right. Sergio Sanchez and News Talk 710 KURV on the free Radio Parami app. Download it now.
And tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin. And over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
A judge in Maryland will decide the sentence for a man from El Salvador in the country illegally arrested for murder after a 10-month manhunt.
Patricia Morin, the mother of Rachel Morin, whom a jury said was raped and killed by Victor Martinez Hernandez, stood with lawyers and law enforcement as they acknowledged the jury's swift verdict in this murder case. Harford County State's Attorney Allison Healy said more important than winning was working for Rachel Morin's family.
To get justice for them and for the kids who, I have formed a relationship with, some of them as well. So the fact that they'll never get to see their mother again, it was very important to me.
Healy said DNA evidence that linked the defendant to the murder was a key to a quick verdict. Martinez Hernandez could be sentenced to life without parole. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Columbia University Gaza war protest organizer is arrested in Vermont after showing up at an immigration office for what he'd been told was a citizenship interview. Hussein Mawadi is Palestinian in the U.S. legally for 10 years. Stage 2 of Meta's federal antitrust trial in D.C.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg could get more time on the witness stand today following his testimony on Monday in the trial. Emails introduced in court highlighted internal talks in 2011 between Zuckerberg and others inside Facebook that discussed Instagram's explosive growth and what the app had that Facebook didn't. Quote, a really good camera and a photocentric sharing network. Facebook later bought Instagram in 2012 for $1 billion before acquiring WhatsApp 2 years later for $22 billion. The Federal Trade Commission says Meta's ownership of Instagram and WhatsApp gives it excessive control of the social media market, but Meta says it, quote, did nothing wrong. The trial is expected to last several weeks. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
The Dallas Wings take former UConn star Paige Beckers with the first pick in the WNBA draft. I'm Chris Foster. This is Fox News.
News Talk 710 KURV, broadcasting from the Valley's All-American Truck Headquarters studio at PayneAutomall.com.
Happy Tuesday. It is tax day. You got all happy, right? Happy Tuesday. Yeah, and then tax. Oh, this is the morning news on News Talk 710 KURV. Along with show producer Fred Cruz and AccuWeather meteorologist Jeffrey Nordine on standby. I'm Sergio Sanchez. Huge news for the Texas economy. We've got a chip maker, NVIDIA, saying they will be setting up shop in Houston and Dallas.
NVIDIA is bringing major chip production to the Lone Star State. The company says it's building supercomputer manufacturing plants in Houston and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, teaming up with Foxconn and Wistron to assemble and test its powerful new Blackwell AI chips. NVIDIA is already making those chips at a plant in Phoenix, but it says the Texas sites are key to building out $500 billion worth of AI infrastructure here in the U.S., all within the next 4 years.
Christian Yates with that report. At 7:06 on the Valley's Morning News, looking at Boca Chica and SpaceX. Elon Musk wants a bit more control and security for SpaceX, and lawmakers talking about that in Austin.
SpaceX fans flood Boca Chica Beach, which brings security concerns. State Rep Eddie Morales wants the launch pad designated as critical infrastructure because he says it's home to more than just rocket launches.
They are also where the United States Department of Defense develops game-changing technologies to further enhance national security.
The move would put the facility in the same security category as airports and military bases. A separate bill also before the State House this week would give elected leaders in the newly created town of Starbase the ability to close Boca Chica Beach anytime they want during weekdays.
A note from folks at Customs. Federal authorities saying a drug shipment recently seized at the Far Bridge had a street value of $14 million. It was suspected meth, and the smugglers used a shipment of bell peppers and cucumber to try to bring that in. Did you see it on social media? The guy that jumped off the Queen Isabella Bridge, a man who was running from the cops from South Padre was on the bridge, and he jumped off the bridge. Yeah, it's all over social media. He made it to the hospital. Yeah, he's okay. Gave police a false name. He is in South Padre Island PD custody. At 7:07 on the Valley's Morning News. A report says that there are now 248 international students in Texas who have been asked to leave the country.
There have been a total of some 600 nationwide. Immigration attorney Robert Hoffman, who's based in Bel Air, Texas, says the Trump administration wants to remove anyone who can be perceived as some kind of a threat.
It's hard to find the rhyme or reason to it because there are people that have no records whatsoever. There are people with very minor criminal records that usually wouldn't even be a blip under another administration.
But he does think a lot of this stems from anti-Israeli protests on campus. He says not only do students lose status, so do their spouses and children if they're in the country because of that student visa. He says while there is a reinstatement process, it's discretionary and slow. Barbara Schwartz, News Talk 710 KURV.
Coming up after AccuWeather, more than just illegal immigrants, a flood of that, more than criminals coming in, crossing illegally from Mexico, or drugs, or fentanyl. What to watch for coming from Mexico headed this way. Chinese, communist, anti-American propaganda, say some. And we'll visit that right after AccuWeather. Time is 7:08. It is AccuWeather time. AccuWeather meteorologist Jeffrey Nordian joining me. And big thank you to Dougie and all the crew at Martin Farm and Ranch for 7 o'clock AccuWeather. The numbers this hour, what you got, Jeffy?
Well, we're sitting at 69 in Brownsville. It's 65 in McAllen, 66 in both Harlingen and Weslaco, and we're at 63 in Edinburgh.
Texas travel okay for today, tomorrow?
Today, tomorrow is sunny across the entire state, and temperatures vary between the mid to upper 70s and looks like upper 80s.
Okay. Long-range forecast. Any change to that, or are we just going to be in the 90s for the next 10, 14?
Well, the short term, it's the mid to upper 80s, low to mid 90s. And then starting Sunday, pretty much all week next week, it's low to upper 90s. No triple digits yet, but also no rain either.
Do you think we're done with the tail end of cool fronts and cooling us down over here? I mean, it's already mid-April.
The way I'm seeing is, any boundaries that do make it have a minor impact. They just don't really do a whole lot. Yeah, they do come through, but they're not.
I know you're trying. It's like I'm hoping. Well, maybe it could change if I just keep talking a little bit more about it. Boom, presto, it can change. No, it's the weather in South Texas. Yeah, we're bone dry again, and likely to stay that for a while. All right, so that's it. Not much to talk about. On the national menu today, it's National Glazed Spiral Ham Day. So give me a few slices. We'll make some sandwiches out of that. What are the condiments you put on the sandwich? Mustard, mayo?
Typically like a chipotle mayo if I can.
Well, that's pretty good. You like spicy stuff? You put some like
spicier. I wouldn't say I like heat, but I do like spicier stuff.
Thanks to his sister, who does a lot of Mexican food cooking.
And she'll sneak in some heat sometimes, and I know it immediately, and I go, "You did not." She makes a laughing stock of me.
But it goes down good, though, right? You're good with that?
Oh, it's all in the matter of love, and she also wants me to try it because I'm usually apprehensive to do so.
If you are a military brat, and that's a term of endearment, by the way, it's not a pejorative. It is your day. So wear purple, they say, to support kids who are in the military as well, running around with mom and dad.
I'm wearing the opposite of that. I'm wearing orange.
Okay. Is that like anti-military kid day? Is that what
No.
No.
In my
you
case,
said-
it's MS,
yeah.
multiple sclerosis support.
Okay.
My mom
That's-
has it.
Okay. I was afraid to ask.
No, you're good. She's had it
Mom.
since 95.
Okay. And I hope you didn't wait a year for this. It's National Laundry Day.
My gosh, if you have a year's worth of clothes, props to you.
Just burn it, man. Just put some gasoline and burn the whole thing. All right, Jeffy, we'll talk to you next hour. As AccuWeather meteorologist Jeffrey Nording. Big thank you to Dougie and all the gang over at Martin Farm and Ranch. Get ready to unleash the ultimate antler growth at Martin Farm and Ranch. They have the top quality feed for your deer, the maximum results. Elevate your game this season. And if you stop by, say howdy, give them a hug. Dougie over at Martin Farm and Ranch. Time is 7:12 on News Talk 710 KURV. Well, things are not exactly what we would expect when it comes to the water debt being paid by Mexico sometime soon. There are some reports that say that maybe if we get any water, it might be a little bit, just a little bit, of the 1 million plus acre feet of water that Mexico needs to deliver. That conversation coming up at 7:15 on the Valley's Morning News. Up in Austin, Texas lawmakers are helping college teams in Texas recruit the best players. Yeah, well, they need money for that.
There being 109 ayes and 35 nays, House Bill 126 is passed to engrossment.
It's all about name, image, and likeness. Student athletes have been receiving money from third parties, companies, brands. The bill passed on second reading by the Texas House would change all that. State Rep. Carl Tepper authored it.
HB 126 allows universities to enter into direct NIL agreements with student athletes, which may include financial compensation and offers of admission.
This could open a can of worms, according to State Rep. Mitch Little.
We are coming a lot closer to making student athletes who are on scholarship employees of the university.
Little fears this might open up universities to federal laws dealing with employees like wrongful termination. In Austin, Chris Fox, News Talk 710 KURV.
Authorities watching illegal immigration, watching for any criminals coming up from Mexico, watching for any drugs as well, and fentanyl. And now, Texas state troopers may soon be tasked with monitoring the propaganda coming from Chinese Communist Party. There's a state senator saying that the influence campaigns go well beyond spying and lobbying, wants to create a specialized hostile foreign organization unit to monitor for Chinese Communist Party propaganda crossing into Texas. It's 7:14 on the Valley's Morning News. More news out of Austin. State Senate Republicans giving preliminary approval for a law to make sawed-off shotguns legal in Texas.
State Senate Republicans passing on second reading 21-10 a bill to remove short barrel firearms from a state list of prohibited weapons, authored by State Senator Brent Hagenboo.
It's still required to register the ATF and pay $200, and it's legal to own one.
State Senator Roland Gutierrez represents Uvalde. He voted against
making it more accessible to people to buy these types of things at the gun show.
At the same time, powerful testimony in a House committee hearing on the same issue.
Make it easier for people to have more access to firearms that can kill more children in schools.
What it does is further the freedoms and the rights of Texas under the Second Amendment.
We are making criminals more dangerous.
In Austin, Chris Fox, News Talk 710 KURV.
Mexico, according to reports late last week, Mexico City, Claudia Sheinbaum said, yeah, we'll pay it. No, don't tax us anymore. We'll pay the 1.2 million acre feet of water. But how much of that will we actually get anytime soon? Conversation with Sunny Hinojosa from the Region M Water Planning Group. That's next on the Valley's Morning News.
Give your liver the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to NordicuSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Happy Super Mother's Day! We have a Super Mom contest in our Facebook and Instagram accounts. That's right. The way it works is like this. You go to our Facebook and Instagram account, you look for the Super Mom post, and you nominate your mama. The two mamas that get the most likes get up to a $500 gift card. That's right. Go to Shampoozy.com for more details. Nominate your Super Mom today. See store for details.
Shampoozy.com. Think tires, think Pueblo.
If you're looking to improve your overall health and have a better quality of life, Dr. T's Primary Care is the place to go. If you feel tired or stressed or less motivated, if you're moody or if you have trouble sleeping, Dr. T's Primary Care will evaluate you and work with you to address your health concerns, including testosterone or menopause treatment, peptide treatment, IV vitamin infusions. Their licensed staff will take the time to listen to you and work with you to improve your overall health. Check out the website, drtsprimarycare.com. Give them a call in the Cal at 956-803-0058 in Harlingen, 956-368-5247.
Brian Kilmeade here. After my show, weekday afternoons at 2, stay tuned for the 956 Drive Home with Zach and Davis starting at 4 on News Talk 710 KURV and KURV.com.
Conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gilman tonight, 6 p.m. on 710 KURV. Right after that, at 7, Astros baseball from St. Louis. Astros baseball made possible in part by the Mission Economic Development Office. We heard a few days back that Mexico City, they committed, Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, they committed to paying the water that is owed to the U.S. over 1 million acre feet, they say. And in a conversation with our Congresswoman, Monica de la Cruz, she said, hey, that's water for Metro Houston for a full 3 years. Man, that is a lot of water. No wonder we lost so much. Let me go to our resident expert on all things water for South Texas. We refer to him as our water advocate. He's part of the local planning group on long-term issues and solutions for water, local irrigation district pro, Sonny Hinojosa. Okay, Sonny, let's get right to it. Suck it down to the cob. So we got 1 million acre feet of water. How much does Mexico have over at Falcon and Amistad? They could simply pencil over to us.
Good morning, Sergio. Yeah, it's interesting that Mexico in Amistad and Falcon only have 292,000 acre feet. I mean, that's all. And in years past, they've stated that they need at least 130,000 for humanitarian needs. So that just leaves a balance of 160,000 acre feet that they could assign to the U.S. if they wanted to or if they had to. But I don't see that as happening. But nonetheless, they don't have 1 million acre feet. So I don't know where the water is going to come from. In years past, when Mexico has been short, and has a deficit, they present a plan, and that plan is always based on rainfall. They're saying, hey, in a certain month, our average inflows are X amount, and they'll project that's how they're going to pay the deficit, but it's never releasing any of their own water. It's just relying on Mother Nature to deliver the minimum requirements to the United States.
In these 30 years I've been doing this show here at KURV, and we get this news of all these dams in the interior, how they're holding water. Surely it's got to be in there somewhere where they could release that into the Rio, at least get it into Falcon, or maybe up at Amistad. There's got to be something there. They keep saying that there's no water in Mexico. They used it all up, but there's something in those dams.
They've got 790,000 acre feet in storage in those 6 tributaries that the United States is entitled to receive a third of the flows from, but they're not going to let that water go. Most of that water is in the state of Chihuahua, and that Rio Conchos that goes through the state of Chihuahua in Mexico is the most productive tributary to the Rio Grande. But I find that very difficult that Mexico would release any of that water. They know that they have 5 more years. If October 25th comes and goes of this year, they know they have another 5 years to pay that deficit. And even if they don't, there's still no penalty.
Okay.
So we have to rely on our current administration to force Mexico to comply with an annual delivery.
Well, Mexico cried uncle or tío, and they said, okay, no more tariffs, no more taxes, no more penalties, no more sanctions. We'll pay it. That's 1 million acre feet of water. What is your fear? Because now we're looking at we're waiting for the details, Sonny. So what is your biggest fear that may come of this? Maybe going easy on Mexico, pretty much putting them on a a separate but similar track where, okay, you can pay it a little bit at a time. But what's your biggest fear out of all this?
They just simply don't have the water anymore. We waited too long to put this kind of pressure on Mexico. They have allocated 100% of their water to their users and never considered allocating any to the United States. So they just don't have the water anymore. And that's why I'm saying that when they devise a plan, I mean, they may offer 80 or 100,000 acre feet. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But when they owe over 1 million acre feet, 80 or 100,000 acre feet is nothing. It'll help somewhat, but it's still not. They're not going to comply with the terms of the treaty unless they get some kind of tropical system that relieves that pressure.
Well, we have a much wider net now that's been done. And my conversation with Brian Jones yesterday from the local Texas Farm Bureau office, I thought, well, perhaps since they've committed and it's 1 million acre feet and they got all these dams in the interior holding all this water, if they are blessed, chances are pretty good since it's a much wider area that we're talking about now where we could demand the water from. You made the commitment. If they get a tropical system, some rain comes over the Pacific, over Mexico, or some Gulf system meanders and goes into Mexico, whatever they hold, because recently they had a lot of water before they gave it to their users because they got the tropic and all the rain over there. Well, it might happen. As Falcon and Amistad may not get the rain, but if Mexico gets the rain, I think our administration, the Trump administration, needs to make a demand. Say, okay, now you got it. Don't use it. You got to release that into Falcon and Amistad.
I would really like to see that. I would really like for Mexico to have to release water. They attempted to release water several years ago in 2020, and the farmers took over the dam, which is Boquillas, is their largest reservoir on the Rio Conchos. And I think they after a couple of days they had to shut it down. Unfortunately, a woman lost her life during that riot. But Mexico, the federal government does not control the reservoirs, so I find that very difficult. I would, like I said, I would like to see that happen, but I just don't envision it occurring.
Sonny, Jos, a local irrigation district chief, he's part of that local group that's making decisions, long-term decisions for water planning in our area, Region M. He's our water advocate. We're talking about Mexico making a commitment to pay over 1 million acre feet of water, 1.2 million acre feet of water to our country. This retention of the water, this effort by Mexico to hold the water, it's hurt Valley agriculture. Are you in any way, Sonny, involved in these details? Are you privy to any of the conversation related to these details? Because we need some teeth to this agreement. They cried uncle, okay, we let them go from the chokehold, but if they don't release the water that they get from any tropical rain near future, I'm thinking immediate sanctions and penalties and tariffs should kick in, at least the threat of that, because looks like we're going to be waiting many months before we get any water from Mexico. What?
Oh, you're correct, and I like the term that you use, commitment. They'll commit all day long, but they're not going to perform. They'll tell you, and it can be through a minute to the treaty, and they'll say, yes, if we get our average rainfall, we'll deliver X amount. But once again, it's weather dependent. It's not forcing them to release water, and that's why I think sanctions or tariffs to Mexico until they deliver what is owed to the United States. I think that's an effective tool.
It brings me back to what they have in their dams. As you mentioned, maybe they have 800,000 acre feet. We should be making demands of some of that to be released. We're going to lose some of that evaporation headed towards the river, but at least we should make demands of some of that, a quarter, a third. I would hope the administration. And by the way, I'm glad you mentioned that because I've never been down this road. Can you describe for me and for the audience how the federal government, Mexico City, is not in charge of releasing that water. They can make commitments and say, oh, they're going to cooperate. But if they don't have their hand on the lever, it's for nothing.
I know. And the example that I used was in 2020 when the federal government dictated to Chihuahua to release the water from Boquillas, their largest reservoir, and there was a riot, there was a revolt, and the federal government failed in trying to make a release. So instead, what they did was transfer the water in storage in Amistad and Falcon to the United States. Just because they didn't want to, they couldn't force a delivery or a release of any of that water. So yeah, I'd like to see that happen, but the chances of that happening, I think, are pretty nil. They're gonna once again wait for a tropical system, some kind of rain event, to make deliveries to the United States.
What's done is done. The damage is done, and we've got a planting season that is short, I'm sure, of what it was the year before and the year before that. What do you hear on the front lines as far as production, seed in the ground, everything's taking place right now, as far as it being diminished?
Well, we're in our third year of restrictions, of heavy restrictions. Some irrigation districts and some farmers just don't have the water, so they're not planting. This is not. If we get water right now, it'll help our citrus because that water's year round. But our next big slug of water is going to be needed is for our fall, for our vegetable crop, which starts in August.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
Have you heard of any more local districts that have run out of water? Maybe key districts or certain growers, or
they're not running out. They just hunkered down. They don't have any water. They're not allocating any water to their farmers. They're shut down, and still the same districts. We're all suffering due to this lack of water.
If we do get, if they fork over, what is it? Amistad. Some Mexico forks over what is theirs at Amistad and at Falcon. That will be distributed, right? At some point, we'll get something for some growers they can count on in the summer, right?
Yeah. Anything would help. They just don't have the water for full commitment. They don't have sufficient water to pay off the over 1 million acre feet that they owe. They just don't have it anymore. But like I said, we'll welcome anything. And, a while back, we accepted some water from the Rio San Juan, which was recently added in the last minute 331 to the treaty. And, that brought us just a little over 100,000 acre feet. And we're still using some of that water. But nonetheless, we need water to come in above the reservoirs, above Amistad and Falcon. That way our farmers can plan. We can't plan on using this water from the Rio San Juan because we don't have control over it. So Mexico can pull that water offer, away from us at any time. And it's a huge investment of our farmers, to plan when you don't have control of that water. So we would rather have that water in Amistad and Falcon. At least we know it's in our control. It's in their water right, and then they can plan to use it.
In about 30 seconds, real quick, under a minute, Region M Planning Group that you're the chairman for, trying to make some long-term recommendations and solutions. Anything to red flag? Anything to post right now?
No, and once again, I'm the vice chair. Jim Darling is the chairman. We're still looking for infrastructure improvements. We have a lot of low-hanging fruit that we could take advantage of if we had the funding. Lining canals or converting canals to pipelines, and that's what is lacking, is the funding for that.
Okay, does it look like the state of Texas and the legislature, they might be allocating something this go around?
Not for agriculture. They'll make money available for potable use for municipal needs, but not for agriculture.
Okay,
so Sonny, we rely on federal government.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the update, Sonny. And
You're welcome.
He's part of the Region M Water Planning Group. Is Sonny Hinojosa, or water advocate.
Active Liver is the easy way to get daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. Find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
At Rivetta's Machinery in Donna, they're bringing the best deals on Coyote equipment
to your job site, your farm, or your backyard. Right now, take advantage of 0% interest or up to $6,000 cash back on Coyote track loaders and skid steers. These are machines built for maximum performance no matter the task. But don't stop there. They're also offering fantastic savings on Coyote tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles. And whether you're hauling something, mowing, tackling other big jobs, Coyote has the equipment to help you get it done. If you're looking for great deals and great service from a team that treats you like family, look no further than Rivettas Machinery and Coyote. Start your next project right. Visit Rivettas Machinery in Donna or browse their deals when it suits you at mynewtractor.com. That's their website, mynewtractor.com. Rivettas for the long haul. See dealer for full details.
The City of McAllen is thrilled to offer your business an opportunity to apply for a matching grant of up to $15,000. The Refresh 50/50 grant was designed with your business in mind. Apply for the Refresh 50/50 grant to upgrade your storefront with improvements like new paint, signage, landscaping, art, lights, doors, and more. Take advantage of this amazing opportunity and apply today at www.refresh5050.com. The Refresh 50/50 grant is brought to you by the City of McAllen. Hablamos Español.
Later tonight, join us for conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gelman, from global warming to abortion, the Constitution, and what America was meant to be. Listen to someone who knows what he's talking about. Conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gelman, tonight at 6 on News Talk 710 KURV. Listen to Sergio Sanchez every morning on News Talk 710 KURV and on the Radio Parami app. Stay informed with exclusive interviews from top local and state leaders, plus economic development news, business, and medical reports, and all the local news from the RGV. It's everything you need to know to start your day right. Sergio Sanchez and News Talk 710 KURV on the free radio.